We will be learning the first Sikhe of Parshas Noach. Look at the Siches, Chelik Chov Hei. Es ist Yedua, was Chazal sagen, B'Neugeya zu Noachen. We know what the Chazal say concerning Noach, and this is basically in the Zohar. So it says concerning Noach, as hat nicht mispalel given al anshe deirei, that he didn't daven for the people of his generation. And the Rebbe quotes the Lashon of the Zohar, Leiboi rachamin al almo. He didn't ask for Rachmanis, he didn't daven to the Eibishter, asking that the Eibishter should have Rachmanis on the people of the world, the people that the Eibishter were killed later by the Mabul. Nicht wie Moshe Rabbeinu was at mispalel given of the Eisa Egel. Not like Moshe Rabbeinu who davened for those people who made the Egel, and the Eibishter wanted to destroy them, and Moshe Rabbeinu davened for them. Gefindt man in dem a plukte zwischen Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak. So in the Zohar, what the Rebbe quotes in the Ores, we find an argument between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yehuda says, as das was Noach hat nicht mispalel given, as wie Moshe, that this that Noach did not daven for the people, like Moshe did, is nicht given an initial chasodin. It wasn't a chasodin, it wasn't something negative. And the Rebbe says it's mashma like that from Rasha also, he says in the Hora, nor val Moshe leitola mile b'schusei, nor b'schusovis. The reason why Moshe did daven is because he didn't connect it to his own schus, but the schus of the ovis. He davened to the Eibishter, he should save the Yidden in the schus of the ovis. But Eis has Noach hat gemoven nit gekent teiler sein philosophy b'schus ovis. But Noach, as understood, was not able to connect and refer his tefillah in the schus of the ovis because this was before the ovis. Therefore, there's no problem that Noach didn't daven for his people. Mashenke Rabbi Yitzchak halt, Rabbi Yitzchak holds, als trotz dem hat Noach gedarft mispalel sein me'ere rachmim sein auf sei. That nevertheless, in spite of the fact that he wasn't able to be toilet in the schus of the ovis, he nevertheless should have davened for them and me'ere rachmim on them. This is the Zohar. Is the tatem avayir dem ta'am. So the Rebbe says that his father explains the reason for it in the Kut Levi Yitzchak, and he says the reason why Rabbi Yehuda says that it was no chesodin, and Rabbi Yitzchak says it was a chesodin. So he says that Rabbi Yehuda mishapech b'schus de Noach, v'Rabbi Yitzchak behepech shemhapech b'chevosei. That Rabbi Yehuda is looking for the schus, looking for to find this as a merit on Noach, and Rabbi Yitzchak is the opposite. He's looking as a chayv, as a negative thing on Noach. This is because each one was speaking according to his own b'china, his own madrege. As the Rebbe's father does in many places, that when different people say different opinions, he always connects it to the level that they themselves were in. And they taught the Torah, and they explained the inyanim according to their level. And this is what he explains. Rabbi Yehuda is b'chinas chesed. Rabbi Yehuda is the level of chesed. He's the farizer mahapich b'schusei. So since his midah was chesed is kindness, so therefore he's always looking for a schus, to be kind, like his midah is midah chesed. And Rabbi Yitzchak, Kubchinas Gvura, Rabbi Yitzchak is in the level of Gvura, Lochem Mahapech Bechavose. Therefore, he looks at it in the opposite way, the negative way, Kfi Midose, like his midah Gvura, like the midah of Gvura. Now, why Rabbi Yehuda is the midah of Chesed doesn't say here. The Rebbe's father explains it in different places. Why Rabbi Yehuda is connected to Chesed, brings rayas from different places. Also interesting. He also quotes in other places that whenever the Gemara says Maise bechosid echad, when the Gemara tells a story about a chosid, and the Gemara uses the word chosid, so the Gemara says it's always Rabbi Yehuda. So we see also a connection between Rabbi Yehuda and chosid, which comes from the word of chesed. Also we find in the Gemara Babakame, Rabbi Yehuda was the one that said, Man de boy lemheva chasida, whoever wants to be a chosid should learn Pirkei Avos, etc., etc. So we see from here that Rabbi Yehuda is connected to chesed. And Rabbi Yitzchak is connected to Gvura. That's obvious. We always know Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Avraham is Chesed, Yitzchak is Gvura. So always Yitzchak represents Gvura. So the Rebbe's father explains here that Rabbi Yehuda, whose madreg is Chesed, so he does it in the form of Chesed. So he explains the fact that Noach didn't daven for his people is not a cheson. He finds that he couldn't help it. It's not his fault. And Rabbi Yitzchak, whose level is Gvura, explains it in the form of Chayva, that it was a cheson that he didn't daven for them. But then the Rebbe asks, we have to have an explanation. Their onzok von Torah is this commandment of the Torah that you always have to judge people favorably is gemovin bepashtas is self-understand a klal for jeder Yid. That's a rule for every Yid. Afila for einen was midose is midas gvura. Even if a person who's midas gvura still has this chiyuv of judging everybody favorably. Is wie kommt es, was Rabbi Yitzchak hat mahaper given b'chavosel shel Noach? So why is it that Rabbi Yitzchak looked for a chay for Noach, as if he's trying to judge him unfavorably? Und hat ihm nicht angewen lekavschus, and he didn't judge him favorably because tzivei hamishin, like the Mishnah says. I want to explain what this means. Now, we do find in the Torah a lot of times that the Torah says certain things which is negative about certain things. It means we can never say anything negative. If something is clearly negative, it's negative. But whenever we have a choice of the two ways, or to look at it negatively or look at it favorably, so obviously we have to judge everybody favorably. So the question here is, since there is a choice here to how to darshan this, whether what he didn't daven for the people is a negative thing or not, why would even the person who's midas agvura, but why would he not judge this favorably, like the Mishnah says? You have to judge everyone favorably. But there is a choice. Here there is a choice, because there are two ways to learn. So that's the shaila of the Rebbe. Then the Rebbe continues, Bedukma to the Tzvei Deyas Anal von Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak, similar to these two opinions of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak, gefindt man eich haplukte, we find also an argument that this is in Gemara, and Rasha also brings it in Chumash. We find an argument that from Posik, B'tchilas Parshasenu, on the Posik in the beginning of Parshas Noach, on the Posik Noach ish tzaddik, the Posik says Noach was a tzaddik gamer, etc., and then the Posik says B'deireisov, he was a tzaddik in his generation. So, Rasha says it like this, Yesh me Rabbeinu darshan lishvach. Some of the Chachamim darshan this for praise. What's the praise? When the Torah mentions that he was a tzaddik in his generations, it tells you that even in his generation, people were bad, he was a tzaddik. Certainly, had it been in a day of tzaddikim, a generation of tzaddikim, it would be a bigger tzaddik. And yesh darshan some darshan it for embarrassment, for the gnai negatively. That lefidere hoye tzaddik, what the Pasuk says he was a tzaddik in his generation, means yes, according to his generation, he was a tzaddik. The ilu hoye b'deira shel Avram, had he been in the generation of Avram, lehoye nichshav lekum, he wouldn't be considered anything. That's what Rashi brings, and the Gemara says this two opinions how we darshan the Pasuk b'dereisov. But seichen them is nit moving al derech b'shayla now. So here also it's not understood, similar to the question we asked before. Tibald mihot abrere. Since we have a choice. We can darshan in l'shvach, we can darshan in l'gnai. You could darshan it in a positive way, in a praise way. And you could darshan it l'gnai in a negative way, like we said before. Farvozol mezogen as kavanas hateris aruz bring a gnusa shel Noach. Why would we think to say, why would we want to say that the reason the Torah writes this extra word b'dereisov in this generation is to show the gnus of Noach? Why would the Torah want to show the gnus of Noach? If you have a choice to say is l'shvach, why would we choose to taicha that means l'gnai? Nochmer, the shayach is more. Says aklal, there is a rule that the Gemara says, as afile bignuz behema tmeya loy dibur hakosov, that even in the embarrassment of a non-kosher animal, the Torah does not say. The Torah does many times not use the word behema tmeya, atomatik behema, but the Torah uses the word loy toyer, not toyer. The Torah doesn't want to say anything negative even about an animal. The Torah nutznit ken loshen meguna afile b'negei abhema. The Torah doesn't use a negative loshen, a not such nice loshen, even concerning abhema. V'alachas kama v'kama as the Torah vet nitreden meknusa shel Noach. So certainly the Torah would not talk anything negative about Noach. So wie can sein adeya? So how is there possible to be an opinion? The Torah is meisiv, the word b'dereisov. The Torah adds this extra word b'dereisov, b'leis aruz bring an inyan shel gnai, only in order to tell us something of Gnai, in connection to Noach. In other words, this is an extra word. The whole drash, these two opinions darshan it, because the word B'dereisiv is extra. It could have said, Noach tzadik tom tzadik hoyed, whatever the lashon will be. Why does the Torah have that B'dereisiv? So it's something to tell us. And here we have a choice. Does it mean to tell us that even in his generation of a tzaddik, show how great Noach was? Or to Shirapar is only compared to his generation, he was a tzaddik. So the Torah adds an extra word. Why would we think that the Torah would add an extra word to tell us a gnai of Noach? Which basically is a kasha on the Gemara. It's a kasha on the opinion, but even if we'll say that this opinion holds that the Pasuk means the gnai, there's still a kasha then on the Gemara. Why would the Gemara go out of its way to tell us something, a gnai of Noach? Even if this opinion has a raya that the Torah meant it l'gnai. So we has to say it meant l'gnai. But so the kasha is not the Gemara. Why would the Gemara tell us something, add an extra word to tell us an embarrassment of Noach? So the Rebbe says, we could answer this Ubehagdim was mit amal mafar given, first bringing in something that the Rebbe explained before, and it's in the Sichas Chelik Hey and Chelik Yud, as the Rebbe brings in the Horas. So the Rebbe explained, as der klal, as Teire nutz nit kan loshen megune, this rule, that the Teire does not use a not nice loshen, and the Teire tries to go out of its way to use loshen nekiya, a clean loshen, but sitzich zu sipure hat Teire. It's only when the Teire tells us stories. Mashenk, when Teire sagt a halacha v'din, when the Teire tells us a halacha, a din, dort nutz the Teire a loshen border. There the Teire uses a clear loshen. Afilev and to live them darf man nutz na loshen built in the kiyo. Even if because of that we have to use a loshen which is not so clean. But if it's negei la halacha, the Teire will say the not clean expression. Weil la halacha darf gesagt werden klor. A halacha has to be said clear, and the Rebbe stresses the word clear. As we see many times, the Rebbe has italics. Italics by the Rebbe is when he stresses a word, so it has to be clear. Ahiroa bruro, a clear lesson. Kedei zu vermeiden amokim letoes, in order to avoid any possibility of a mistake by usfir the halacha ma'aseh b'peil. When you're going to do this halacha ma'aseh, if it's not going to be written outright clear, you might make a mistake. So here we disregard the fact that you have to use a nice lashon. The Torah uses any lashon as long as it's clear. So the Rebbe says you could say the same thing in this inyan. But the Torah is meisiv, the word b'dereisov, main indicate ein pirush l'gnai. When we said the Torah adds the word b'dereisov, and according to one opinion, it means l'gnai. It's for this reason that we just said before, that things have to be clear when it's negei l'alocha. And he explains it like this. When Torah wollt nit aruz gebracht odem gnai, if the Torah would not bring this embarrassment or this gnai, this negative thing concerning Neach, this would make a place, a possibility for somebody to make a mistake. And as we said before, when it's something that could bring you a mistake in your behavior, it has to be clear. That means like this. We look in Chumash and we find it in the Mefarshim, we find the Gemara, that certain things Noach did not do 100% correctly. Lamosh and the Hari brings different examples. One example is on the first pasuk when it says Eso likim is halach Noach, that Noach went with Hashem. So Rashi says it means he needed Hashem to help him. That means it wasn't so great. Another place it says that Noach went into the Tevo because of the waters of the Mabul. So Rashi says Noach miktane yamunah. He was also from the small believers. He didn't really 100% believe the Mabul will come. So till he didn't see the water coming, he didn't go into the Teva. So we see certain things which are not so great b'negei Noach. So he wasn't a tzaddik b'shleimus. Is Eib Teire would Matayr given Neach al tzaddik tomim, if the Teire would just say Neach was a tzaddik tomim, complete tzaddik, und nicht bavoren dabei adosis b'dereisov, beleis berech zu sein dor, and if he wouldn't, at the point mentioned, that it was only according to the level of his generation he was a tzaddik. Only be'erech to his generation. If the Torah wouldn't mention that and would leave it just saying that he was a tzaddik, wollt man gekent meine, we would think, as Azah and Hogi is an Hogas tzaddik tomit, that whatever Noach did is a behavior that a tzaddik does. And that would be wrong, because certain things that Noach did which we should not do. The Riber musdo zayin mudgish der heipach hashvach von Noach. Therefore here you must bring out the opposite of the praise of Noach. Kedem is all der fun uplen and aklora hirov, even that's a fin. So we should learn out exactly how we're supposed to behave. So the question was, how could the Torah write something negative according to this opinion? Why would the Torah write something negative about Noach? The answer is because the Torah wants us to know that what he did is not 100%, so we will learn out. Just like we say the klal, that when it comes to halacha, we could write something in a lashon that's negative, not such a good lashon. Here also the Torah B'dafke wants to write that he was only a tzaddik b'dereisov, according to his generation, be'erech to his generation, to teach us that we should not follow everything he did, because certain things he did was not good. So now the Rebbe continues, he says, we could go even a step further. As der mechuven fun yesh der shneisel gnai, that the meaning of the words, that there are some who darshan this for the gnai, is not to der zählen as bei Noach and given a chasorim bepeil. Is not to tell us that Noach had some chasorim, had something negative. Nor dershim eisel gnai. Dershim is how we darshan it. Es is adroshe velimud lignai far a zweiten. A second person, other people who look at what he did, they should look at it as a gnai. Why? To verhitten him von achasorn v'toz beim lernen wegen Noach. That he should avoid, these people shouldn't make a mistake when we learn what happened by Noach, and we should think we could do it. In other words, But the Torah, according to this, what the Rebbe is adding here is this. Till now, till this new last paragraph that we learned, the Rebbe just answered that the reason that the Torah would, according to this opinion, say that some gnai on Noach, Pasha, because it's negayim lamaisa, it's negayim that we shouldn't learn from Noach. But Taka, the Torah so far is telling us something negative about Noach. So when the Gemara says, or Rasha says, yes, darshan lignai, they darshan lignai means, yes, this was a gnai for Noach. The kasha is, why would the Torah tell us a gnai on Noach? So other people shouldn't learn. So it's negay lamaisa, so it doesn't matter to tell a gnai. What the Rebbe is adding here is that the Torah never meant it's a gnai on Noach. The words yesh darshan l'gnai means that the one that darshans the gnai learns it, that there is a gnai that we should learn. For Noach it wasn't a gnai. As the Rebbe will explain in a moment. It wasn't a gnai for him. But since we could learn out from it to act the way he did, and in our situation we shouldn't, so we have to look at it as a gnai. So the darshan l'gnai, the drosha, the people who darshan, it's a gnai. And here the Rebbe explains why for him itself it's not a gnai. Even according to the opinion that says that the darshan l'gnai, it wasn't a gnai, it's only a gnai for others. And this is what the Rebbe says. Yesh leimar, because we could say that dos was yesh darshan l'shvach or yesh darshan l'gnai. This, that there are two opinions. Some say it's a l'shvach, that even in his generation it was great. Certainly be in other generations. And the other one who says it's the gnai is nit kemplukte. It's not an argument in the level of tzidkas of Noach. See, simple pshat we learn, the machlokes is, one says Noach was a big tzaddik, one says it's not a big tzaddik, it was not so great. The Rebbe says no, that's not the machlokes. Each one is speaking about something else. It's a Lashon Gemara. One says one thing, one says something, but they're not arguing. And what is it that they're not arguing about? So the Rebbe says, unlei pligi b'mtzias, and they're not arguing. This word which means ants, is a little bit strange here. Doesn't mean to add something. This is the explanation. Really, without the word would also be good. It's maro marchod v'lei pligi. They're not arguing, and then there's a colon there. And now he explains lei pligi, etc., etc. They're not arguing in this. They're not arguing this. It's just a different way of looking at it. But here, with the word means, and this is what the pshat is. I guess that's the word un. Anyway, this is what the Rebbe says, that they're not arguing in the mitzias of what the level of Noach was. They're not arguing whether if Noach would have been in the generation of Avram, if he'd be anything great. In other words, everyone agrees to this. Both opinions agree that he wasn't in a great level like by Avram. He wasn't. Also, everyone holds. On the other hand, as nit Noach is given schuldig, was nicht given as a great tzaddik wie Avram. That the fact that he wasn't such a big tzaddik like Avram is not his fault. Nor das ist gewähnt zu lieb der Matze von der Größe Pchisus von seinem Dort. It was only because his generation was so low. Und had he been in the generation of tzaddikim would be greater. In other words, what the Rebbe is saying, every opinion holds that the level of Noach was not as great as Avram. Every opinion holds that it wasn't his fault. So what is the argument? If they both hold that, had he been in the generation of Avram, he wouldn't be considered tzaddik, and everyone also agrees that it's not his fault. The chilik is, the difference is, was the Torah is, was is the Torah oisem mit nevort b'deresav? What is the Torah trying to stress here? The fact is a fact according to everybody. The question is what they're trying to stress. And b'chlal, this has a big mile. We didn't explain it yet. It has a big mile trying to say that both opinions really hold the same thing. Because there is a rule, and the Rebbe brings it in Order 18, there's a klal, even in learning halacha, that wherever we're able to minimize in a machlekes and say they're really arguing in a very, very small point, but not a major machlekes, we always try to do it. Certainly, and this is not halacha, but also it's good to see that we're able to say there's no machlekes. So we said there is no machlekes here. Everyone agrees he wasn't as a big tzaddik as Avraham, and everyone agrees that it's not his fault. The difference is, what is the Torah trying to stress when the Torah says b'deresav? Ein man domar sagt, one man domar says, dem schwach, as the Torah kum to shabeach zan Noach. The Torah, by writing b'deresav, is trying to tell us the praise of Noach. That's all. Und der zweiter man domar sagt, as der mit will the Torah bavoren, and soll nicht herauskommen in Takola, in der Aveda von Aiden, was lernen wegen Noach. The other one says that the Torah wants to make sure that no one else will make such a mistake. It shouldn't be a stumbling block. In other words, the fact that Noach did live in a bad generation, and nevertheless he was a tzaddik, at whatever level he was, that itself is a praise for Noach. Shows how great Noach was. Being in such a generation and still being the way he was, it's great praise. On the other hand, even though it wasn't his fault. As far as he's concerned, it was something great. But we could learn and think that we have to be the same way. So we have to know that for us, who don't live in that generation, we shouldn't be like that. But the question is, what is the Torah trying? Which of the two is the Torah trying to tell us? So one Mandama says that Torah is trying to tell us the greatness of Noach. That Noach, in his generation, it was the way he was, which is something special. And the other Mandama says, true, that it was only because of his generation, he wasn't so great. But the reason the Torah is mentioning it is to bring out that we should not learn from him. But they're not arguing in the level of Noach. When das meint v'yesh darshan neser lignai. This is what it means when it says they darshan lignai. B'shayches zu Noach and Gufe, das nicht kelinje von Gnai v'cheson. Concerning Noach, it's not a Gnai. The Torah is not saying that there's a Gnai and there's something wrong with Noach. Why not? Because Zayndik in Azad Dor, because being in such a generation, is not given Shaykh as is Zayndik Darkes Tzidkes of Avram. It was not possible he should be like Avram. His Tzidkes should be like Avram. Therefore, the fact that we say he was a tzaddik only according to his generation is no gnai. It's not negative at all. He did his best. Nor Torah muss bringen as the darge von Tzidkes is nicht emes shleimus. But the Torah still has to tell us that you should know, even though it's not his fault and he did his best, but we should know that that's not the highest madrege. Since a darge from gnai berach to Avram, comparing to Avram, it's called a gnai. Lehoya nichshav lekluma. He said concerning compared to Avram, it would be nothing. Why does the Torah want to tell us that? Kedei as the heroa from Sipur Neach zayin klor. So the lesson that we take from Neach should be clear that we cannot follow everything that Neach did. In other words, it seems from here that the Rebbe, when he's teaching the word gnai, normally gnai means an embarrassment. We're saying it's an embarrassment for Neach. When yesh darshan gnai, simple pshat without the sicha, there are certain people who darshan gnai means they darshan, this embarrasses Neach. The Rebbe typed the word this is not embarrassment. Gnai means chesoren, not such a good thing. So some say the Torah is trying to stress the fact that that's not such a great level in order to teach us that we shouldn't follow. And the other one says, no, that's not what the Torah is trying to stress. The Torah is trying to stress that even though he was in such a generation, he was still a great person. Because the fact is, they both agree, it's a shvach for Noach. It's the fact that he was a tzaddik the way he was, not such a great tzaddik, the way he is a praise for Noach. And the other hand, it could come out of chesorim for other people. So one mandomer says the Torah stresses the mile of Noach, the other one says the Torah stresses the chesorim. If dem selben Eifen kann man masber sein, die zwei Deyes von Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak, in dem was Noach hat nicht mispalig when al Torah. The same way we explain the two opinions between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yitzchak concerning the fact that Noach did not daven for his people, which we said one opinion, repeating again from the beginning, that one opinion says that it's not his fault, there's nothing wrong with it, because Moshe Rabbeinu davened because he was totally in the schus of the Ovis. Noach couldn't, so there's no problem. He didn't do anything wrong by not davening. And the other opinion says, no, it's still a chasson. He should have davened. He says, Mara marchode, Mara marchode v'lei pligi. They're both saying, looking at from, one is saying one thing, one is saying the other. They're not arguing in the facts. They're just arguing how to look at it. Eich Rabbi Yitzchak is made, Im Rabbi Yitzchak, who says that really he should have davened, agrees, admits, Ados was Noach hat nit mispalg ben al shadere. The fact that Noach didn't daven for the people of his generation is weil hat in jene matzav nit gekent mispal sein of say. In that situation, he couldn't daven for them. He says lehavele beman de yitle beschuser k'meisha. He didn't have anybody to connect the schus, so it's no problem. Everyone agrees that it's no chesron that he didn't daven for them. Es is nit a chesron in Noach. It's no chesron in Noach. So what is Rabbi Yitzchak saying that he still should have davened? Rabbi Yitzchak kommt nor bavoren, and Rabbi Yitzchak comes to tell us, as a zonita ruskim and atakolach as vesholem and ashpete dicken dor. Shouldn't come at any stubborn like in a later generation, meaning the people might think, as is nit gesorn, it means nit mispal of shador. If you see, Noach didn't daven, so people would think it's okay if you don't daven for other people of your generation. The Rebbe sagt Rabbi Yitzchak, so Rabbi Yitzchak says, as a man mus darshenen, that we have to darshan, and the Rebbe here uses the same expression as before, yesh darshin. Darshan means aruz bringen. You have to darshan. What we take out from it, adizach von farzich is an inyan shel gnai. This that he didn't daven is a problem. It's a gnai. Not that it's a problem on him. Chotchas by Noach on Gufot it nit can't sign by for nachar. Noach couldn't do any other way, as we said. But you should know this inyan is a gnai, is a problem. You always have to daven and ask for rachman for a second yid. So we shouldn't learn from Noach. So the inyan that happened is a gnai, even though it's not a gnai on him. And the far is das Rabbi Yitzchak nicht in stira zum Klal von Avadonas Klotem Kapschus. So what Rabbi Yitzchak said is not a contradiction. that you have to judge always everybody favorably. But Leichlet Reb Yitzchak, he says, by Neach and given kan chayva chas v'sholem. Even according to Reb Yitzchak, what he did was not a negative thing, not a chayva because he didn't daven, because he couldn't. Nor Reb Avon, wie die Sache ist ein initial chayva by andere. He's saying that you should know, when we look at it, this inyan that he did is for us a chayva. So when we darshan it to us, we should know that's not how we're supposed to behave. For other Rabbi says, even contrary, Eben wird nicht bewohren in as Azan Hog in allgemein von nicht beten Rachmalan Shederes Bild to the Suya. If we would not mention that what he did, not davening for the people, is a negative thing in itself, if we wouldn't mention that, that would have been something negative for Noach. So he's not speaking negative for Noach. He's speaking good about Noach. Had he not mentioned it, it would be something negative about Noach. What would come out if he wouldn't say, don't follow what Noach did because it's not good for us? If he wouldn't say that, and we would think what Noach did is good, and we would follow it, then that'll be negative for Noach. It means Noach caused another Yid to do something wrong. So he says, Farket, because I'm looking for a schus for Noach, that's why I'm saying that what he didn't daven is a chesoren. We should know for us it's a chesoren. Und the Rebbe is eich das gufe bis schus shel Noach. So it comes out that what he says is a schus for Noach. Allein will man soll madgish sein, am medarf yamis pals an anshadere. If you ask Noach himself, what do you think? Should we stress the fact that you have to daven not like you did? He would say, sure, do that. Bis zu sagen, dass es na even kilo bis es a chesoren bei Noach and gufe. That if we wouldn't show how it's a chesoren, then it would come out it's a chesoren Noach. Kipashtas loshen Rabbi Yitzchak, like Rabbi Yitzchak said, ve'im kol do havelei Noach l'miboy rachmi says, if even though he didn't have a schus, he should have davened, alayu. Why does he say l'chura? We just said before that he himself didn't have a chesoren. But if he wouldn't bring out from here that there is a chesoren for us to do that, and there is something negative in the etzem inyan, it would be showing that by him it's a chesoren. That's a chesoren for him. So that's why he mentioned it. So you have to say for sure, to make sure that this is not going to be any chesoren by a second yid. That's why he did it. That's why Rabbi Yitzchak did this. And now the Rebbe adds another nekude. Und durch dem, was man bewornt als Hanhogas Neich ist ein initial chayva, nicht die emes by saying that what Noach did is not completely good. Not that he did something wrong, but for us it wouldn't be good. Und bemeile führt man sich in andere Deires, in an Eifen, an Misyemes Palad Anshador. And bemeile by saying that, people in other generations will daven, I dos gufa mesaken dos was Noach had peil nigiton. This will fix what Noach didn't do. Till I didn't say it. Till I just said that Noach wants it, we should know that it's a chesoren. Even though he couldn't help it, but it's a chesoren. We shouldn't follow what he did. Now he's saying not only that, because of showing how this is a chesoren, this is good for Noach, not only because no negative thing will come out and no one will follow him. Besides that, by us not following him, knowing what he did is a chesoren, is a tickle for what he did. Meaning that even though in his generation he couldn't do it, but because through him, by showing concerning him that what he did is not a mile, it's a chesoren, we have a lesson for all generation that you do have to daven, and that's what people will do. Bring this to the shleimus in the minyan like Noach. So bring shleimus to Noach. So we're fixing what Noach did. That even though he didn't daven, but this caused that every generation people should daven for him. This is the lesson for our generation. I just want to bring out one of the things that before in the Ha'orah 23, it's an interesting thing, so I'll make sure the Rebbe says in the Ha'orah. The Rebbe said that even Noach, no one wants to brought some gnai in the person. But here Noach would want this gnai because it's good for Noach, because Noach wants no one should follow him. So the Rebbe brings an example that the Rebbe explained, it's printed in the Sichas Chelek of Dalet, that at the end of Parsha Brocha, when it speaks about Moshe Rabbeinu's passing, so it says, Vayifko say Bnei Yisrael, the Yidden cried for him. So Rasha says, by Adam, when he passed away, it says, Kol Bnei Yisrael. Because by Adam, everyone cried for him, because he brought sholem between people, so everybody cried for him. So the Rebbe has a shaila. We're talking about the passing of Moshe, the stalkers of Moshe. And the Torah brings out all the milas of Moshe. When we talk about Moshe Rabbeinu, the milas of Moshe. Why would Rashi bring here a chesoren of Moshe? That fact that he was not like Aaron. Aaron was greater. Aaron, everyone cried for. There's some reason that when we talk about the milas of Moshe, we're mentioning a chesoren. So the Rebbe answers, it's a mila Moshe. Moshe wants that we should all realize that what he did not do by going from person to person and making sholem, we shouldn't follow. Moshe in his madrega couldn't do that. For whatever reason, he couldn't do it. But if we'd leave it like that, people would think, oh, we want to follow Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why it's even Moshe Rabbeinu would want that we should learn out not to do like him, and that's a Maile Moshe. That's something that will help Moshe. That's why it's written by the Islalkas of Moshe. The same thing here. Noach himself wants we should bring out the Gnai. And then the Rebbe said it's also Masakin. And this is a lesson in our generations. See, passiert einmal happens sometimes as eine tut kfi geholt if mashpia sein bis vivose alan shadei. Somebody does as much as he can to be mashpia on his surroundings and on people of a generation. Aber mit zatzibes einem tluis beilachur, certain times, certain reasons which don't. It's not because of him. Is in dem nicht matzliach. It's not matzliach. Kann bei sich machen nach cheshbon. You can make a cheshbon. Ani es nafshi etzalti. I saved myself. In other words, I did everything I'm supposed to do. Not only concerning myself, I davened, I learned, I did everything I need to do. Even in working with others, he did it completely. He didn't accomplish. I did everything I can. Rabbi Yitzchak teaches us. As es kennt, could be that he did everything he could. Says not only it's an imagination, according to the Torah, he did everything completely. Aber afal became darf man wissen, als dabei tormen nicht bleiben. You have to know you can't stop there. Mit Ton nicht sein zufrieden von der Matzev, denn man muss halten in ein Machre sein. You can't be happy of the Matzev, you always have to announce. And you accuse the Lashon of Zeyev. Im kol do have by Noach, Rabbi Yitzchak says, with all the reasons he should have davened. You always have to remember that you could have done more. The need bet and rachmal date is a matzav shulchev. You have to remember that it's not such a good thing. You did your best, but you have to a matzav is a good thing. There's a story that once there was a ishtadlis that there was a sifas harabonim trying to do things for the government, and the Rebbe Rashab was very strong on a certain thing, and he didn't succeed. And Reb Chaim Briske came into him later, and he saw the Rebbe Rashab crying. So he asked him, "Lubavitcher Rebbe, was veint ihr? Doch getan alles was wir können. Why are you crying? We did everything we could." So he said, "Aber mir nicht getan, but we didn't accomplish." So he didn't stop there. He felt that way. The Rebbe once told a story with the Chofetz Chaim, that the Chofetz Chaim once sent a delegation to be mishtadel for certain things for Eden. And they came back and they told him they didn't succeed. So nobody asked him, "Hat gechalisht? Did you faint? If it really bad, you should have fainted. You should have known." And maybe if they would fainted, then the government would maybe change their mind. Because you can't be enough that the fact that I did everything, you have to know the kavanah is that you have to you have to finish off and be matzliach. Und das Gufe is geirem as wenn a matze for schus. This itself causes that it becomes a schus. Aderebish and mavatel the sibis from the matze bilterotzei. That because you feel that way and you do that way, the Eibush will take away all the reasons which seem to be the reason why it causes the situation not to be so good. Und gibt aiden a gelegenheit zu beten rachem mal an shadere. And the Eibush gives the possibility that we should be able to daven for the others, be superiors as his own tshuva the causes of the tshuva. Certainly our time, which is we live in the hills of Mashiach, close to Mashiach, but the Rambam paskin b'sifrei, the halacha, the Rambam paskins when it's a psak din that has to happen in a sefer of halachas. Because if ticha teira shesave Israel last is tshuva, save galusim, the Eibush promised, the Torah promised that the end, the Eden will do tshuva in the end of the golus, and miyad in the goal, and they go out to the gula. And so b'meila, then the kudah of the sicha, as we all see, just in short, the question was why in two cases do we find that if you're able to darshan l'shvach, darshan for good, why would you darshan l'gnai? And they're both b'negeya neach. One is b'negeya why he didn't daven for his door, and the other one is that we're saying that only in his generation there was tzaddik, not in others. So the Rebbe explains that it's not that we're darshaning l'gnai as a gnai for him, fakert. We're darshaning l'gnai, so everyone should know that we have to do better. And it's not a gnai on him in both cases because he did his best. So on him it's not a gnai. Adarab, it's a maila, it's a shvach that he in such a generation he was able to do what he did. But one opinion says that the Torah is interested in telling us his maila. That's one thing. And the other one says, yeah, but we have to go ahead. We have to. Noach himself is maskim at once. He should talk how what he did was not be'etzem a good thing, even though in his situation it was no problem. Today we should learn out from here how not to do and behave differently. And that's a klal, that even though normally the Torah doesn't talk negative about somebody, even Abraham is certainly about Noach, but here it's not negative. It's positive. Noach is happy that the Torah talks in a way that it causes us to be better, and when we do it because we stress how by Noach it wasn't the real good thing, that is a tikkun for what Noach did.